So Jim Harbaugh apparently has a book coming out, Chris.
Come out, releases in August, I believe.
Apparently, in his book, according to the articles I have read, his decision to leave as head coach of the team up north and go back to the NFL was because he felt, in his words, that Warde Manuel was not going to give him the support he needed.
In other words, he wasn't going to give him protection from the NCAA for his crimes. And let's call it what it is. It was a criminal offense against college football, against the game of football. And I don't like Warde Manuel. I think Warde Manuel is a joke of an AD. I think Jim Harbaugh is a complete idiot. We'll keep it family friendly. Idiot. But right now, I'm not sure. And I actually posed this question just before getting kicked off of a rival website last night.
Oh, did you get kicked off?
I was disinvited, yes. But I posed the question: is Jim Harbaugh trying to destroy everything he created, or is he just trying to destroy Warde Manuel? And are the two mutually exclusive? Because I kind of feel like he is the type of guy who, when Urban walked out, Urban did not pillage the whole staff.
No.
He didn't leave the program in shambles. When Harbaugh left, he took everything. He cleaned the cupboards. And it was almost as if he was saying, this was mine, this was what I built, and I'm not going to let you have the opportunity to do better than I did with it. So was it the ego, or was it just, so I think he was after the program a little bit from that sense, but you hear the comments coming out in the book, Eric, and it sounds like it's a personal attack just on Warde Manuel. He's trying to turn the Michigan fan base against Warde Manuel now. And I'm not sure. Is he just out to stop the program from having success at this point? Is he trying to destroy Warde Manuel? Does he want to do both? I mean, I'm not sure. It feels to me like he wants the Michigan fan base to think Jim Harbaugh is the god of that state up north, and you know what? There are no others.
That's interesting. I don't. I guess I didn't think about what maybe his motivation was in taking so many of his um, staff with him, so much of his staff with him, outside of the fact that maybe he just, in his own words, I lean upon my staff like Moses. In other words, saying that he trusts his staff who's cheating for him. But I don't know if that's what it is, or if, like you said, it's an ego thing and he wants to kind of on his way out say this was mine and no one else can have it. Um, but I'll say this: he's got a issue, major issue,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the fact that I believe, based off of his reaction over the past couple seasons, that he has a victim mentality disorder
Oh yeah, the
where
whole world's out to get him.
nothing is ever his fault. Nothing. Um, and yeah, Ed brings up a good point. His assistants wanted out too. Some of them had apparently, and we don't know who they are, have show clauses.
We know that they're coming. We know that they're not done. We know that these show causes are not finished, Eric. Um, the fellas on the podcast for that state up north, they seem to think we're full of crap for believing this is coming, but it's coming. They're not going to get away with this. Warde Manuel is going to end up being the fall guy for it. He's going to end up being the scapegoat for it. I've listened to several other shows. I've read several articles. this is going to be at this point, I truly believe Jim Harbaugh is going to get a major show cause to the point where he is done in college football. He's not coming
Hmm.
back. I think Warde Manuel is going to get nailed with lack of institutional control, given everything that's going on. And I think that this Michigan program, despite what their fans and their deluded podcasters up there think, are going to just get hammered. They like to say it's going to be the Fisher Price hammer. No, it's going to be a 10-pound sledgehammer that comes down right across their noggins. They are full of it if they don't think it's coming.
So Brian King wants to know, and the phone lines are open, guys. 567-483-1999. We can talk about Harbaugh. We can talk about what's going on in Penn State. We can talk about what you want to talk about with Ohio State. We can talk about Eric's kidney stone. It's all open for business tonight. 567-483-1999. Brian King wants to know, do we have any idea what time frame it is going to be before this all comes out? I do not.
I don't
Um,
either.
I heard it was going to be late spring, early summer, which that's where we're getting at to now. However, you know how the NCAA just ruled hard, if you will, on Arizona State from like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So this could take a
They
while.
they hammered Florida State hard for relatively minor in comparison infractions a while back. Eric, I think that the reason that people don't think it's coming or they're getting jittery because it hasn't happened yet, I don't think people understand. I think it's a much deeper rooted issue. I mean, I believe that didn't Jr. a while back say that they just added additional investigators to looking into this.
Hmm.
Guys, this is a serious issue. It's going to take a while for them to resolve it, but believe me, when it happens, and I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't take till right up to the start of the season. When it happens, it's going to get ugly.
So one thing that has just become increasingly obvious to me, and this is what I want to try to get into tonight a little
Mhm.
bit. His his inability to accept responsibility for his own actions in
Oh,
his own
sure.
program. And this mentality that he has of being the victim has somehow spread to that entire fan base, to where their podcasters, like you mentioned, their fan base, for the most part, everybody views what took place last year as somehow they were the victims of all of this.
Right.
It is, and this is maybe a larger societal conversation, to be honest with you, because it seems like a lot of the young people who are now young adults don't know how to take responsibility for their actions or
I
for
see it every day.
themselves.
I see it every day working in an elementary school. It's almost like Jim Harbaugh has a child's mentality. It's always someone else's fault. They can't say little Johnny just knocks out little Kevin, and it's because it's little Kevin's fault. He said my hair is ugly. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's something silly like that. It's always somebody else's fault.
yeah,
It was
and
Connor Stein's fault.
it,
It was Ward Manuel's fault.
yeah, everybody, right?
It's the NCAA's fault for not being up to date with their thinking. It's it's Tony Patini's fault. It, it's anybody's fault but Jim Harbaugh's because he can't accept the fact that he got busted and now has to deal with the consequences.
The So I've been digging into this a little bit, and maybe this is something we need to break down further, Chris, in a video all of its own. But
Mhm.
there is such thing as victim um,
Yes.
mentality disorder,
Hmm.
and usually it coincides with someone who's very narcissistic.
Yes.
And so nothing is ever their fault. And because of this, they continue to portray onto others how they are the victim and that you should feel sorry for them.
Mhm.
That's what this sounds like to me, this chapter in this book. That I'm the victim. You should feel sorry for me. That Warde Manuel doesn't support me enough, and that's why I had to leave. I call BS to that. He was in California. How many times did this guy go and accept interviews with NFL teams?
Yeah.
He wanted to be courted. He wanted to be flirted with by those GMs and those owners in the NFL. This wasn't a decision he made because, oh, gee, Warde Manuel didn't want to support me. I'm the victim. So I had to go be the coach for the Chargers. That's so bull. If you can't see through that, even if you're a fan of this guy, I don't know how to help you.
And you know what, Eric? I almost think that the cheating came out of that desire to go. He knew the best way to get himself out because nobody was going to take him at this point when he was losing constantly to Ohio State and falling short. Nobody was going to take him at this point. So he knew that he had to go out and do whatever it took to win a title. I think the cheating stemmed out of his desire to leave Michigan and go back to the NFL.
Yeah. I I think you're absolutely right, Chris. And I about that. I think that that was definitely a part of it. I think he got desperate during the COVID year when they were what 2-4 that year.
When Dave was going to hang 100 on him.
Yeah, I think he got desperate and he immediately looked for ways. And Connor just happened to be someone who was like, okay, um, let's just uh, let's just try what he's got here, and it worked. It worked incredibly well, and so that to me is something that whether they get hit for this or not, it's never going to change the fact that it happened, in my opinion.